from 1942 to 1982. During World War I, the captain flew 43 missions for the Navy. To celebrate his 90th birthday, he made a skydive from the same airport in Pittsfield, Maine, where he learned to fly as a young man. All I can say is you're a brave soul. I spent a lot of time with the 101st. We used to rappel out of the helicopter. We never jumped, but in those days I was there. Today he'll receive the Distinguished Flying Cross for a mission that he flew during World War II. I'd like to have General Campbell come forward, please, and Jennifer, if you come. And we bring Captain Slate up front.
Captain, this is a great honor, made none the less significant because of the tardiness with which it's being delivered to you. It's an honor for me to deliver this cross to you.
It's been 69 years.
The Distinguished Flying Cross is presented to Lieutenant J.G. Lester B. Slate for his actions on June 19, 1945 in the rescue of a downed Marine Corps pilot. This is a brief description of the actions of that day. On June 19, 1945, returning from an overnight patrol, we were intercepted by two U.S. Marine Corps F-4U Corsairs. They advised us of a Marine aviator in a life raft in 20-foot seas, 45-knot winds, drifting towards Amanijima, an island in the Rico Islands, about 2 miles from shore. These three pilots had been bombing and strafing the island, and this pilot in the raft had been shot down. We studied the situation and decided this pilot would come ashore on the island in less than an hour and become a prisoner and probably a dead one. We knew that the sea conditions would be dangerous on land, and we knew that if we didn't rescue him, his life was at risk. We were risking the lives of a crew of 12 to save one. We decided to take that risk, and in the process of landing, we lost two rudders and opened a small leak in the hull. We taxied over to the pilot, Marine Corps Lieutenant Caldwell. After picking up Lieutenant Caldwell, we were unable to take off due to the damage, but we still could taxi away from the island. We contacted our base, which was approximately 50 miles away, and suggested they send a seaplane. I think they would definitely need to have one in those days, and that kind of weather. We were told to stand by and they would do something for us. The time was about 9 a.m. in the morning. We taxied out 18 miles and got a call from our base about 2 p.m. The sea had calmed down to 20-knot winds and 4-foot swells at that time, and they were sending us a PBM to pick us up. The rescue was successful, and we transferred to the rescue plane by rubber raft after destroying all the classified gear on the plane. After takeoff, the rescue plane strafed our plane and sank it. We were safely brought back to our base in less than an hour. Well, we don't have the citation that goes with the air medal. I'll talk a little bit what the air medal is. The air medal, authorized on May 11, 1942, is awarded for single acts of achievement after September 8, 1939, to any member of the U.S. Armed Forces who distinguishes himself by heroism, outstanding achievement, or meritorious service while participating in aerial flight. During World War II, the Air Medal was awarded for a lesser degree of heroism of achievement than required for the Distinguished Flying Cross. And the Navy criteria for the Air Medal was you had to earn 20 points. And either 10 strikes, flights, 20 flights, and I'll explain what those are, or 250 missions, or 250 flight hours in order to earn an Air Medal. So it wasn't something you got very easily. You had to earn this. And from those processes, a definition of those days, a strike was those sorties which delivered ordnance against the enemy, land, or evacuate personnel in assault or engage in search and rescue operations which encounter enemy opposition. Flight, those sorties which deliver ordnance against the enemy, land, or evacuate personnel in assault or engage in search and rescue operations which encounter no enemy opposition. Direct combat support missions are which in reconnaissance, target, combat air control, electronic countermeasures, psychological warfare, patrol operations in coastal surveillance, and other operations to that nature. So it took a while to earn an Air Medal. For the Air Force in World War II, you had to fight 5 bombing missions over Germany in order to earn an Air Medal on the Air Force side. And each branch of service had a little bit different criteria for that. But that was a Navy criteria, and you definitely earned your Air Medal. So, yes, you did. actually hold up here a little bit. You can see them, but these are the other medals. You take a look up here. This is the World War II Victory Medal. That was the important one that came at the end of World War II. American Campaign Medal for service during in the American campaign. We actually had three campaigns medals for World War II. We had the Pacific Medal for campaign. We had the American campaign for those who served around the United States in operations around there. And we had the European Campaign Medal. The American Campaign Medal is a blue one. The Pacific Campaign was the yellow one. And with that comes three little bronze stars. Each bronze star means an operation or specific campaign during that for that process. And the other one is a occupation medal for Japan. And this one says Asia, but it's for Japan on the service. After the end of World War II, we were an occupying force, actually in Europe and also in the Pacific. Those that served in the waters around Japan and those that served in Germany received occupation medals, and specifically the bar said either Asia or Germany on it for those ones that earned that. And with that, the really important thing, John, I'll give you the last one here. Actually, maybe the senator will pin this on for us. This is the little ruptured duck, the little honorable service lapel pin. If you pin that on for us, we'd appreciate that.
Oh, yes, he does.
Yeah.
Where shall I put it, on the collar?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So, would you like to ad-lib any more than what I did?
Well, you've done an excellent job. You've
Okay.
covered it pretty well.
Okay, well, I haven't finished with you yet, so.
The island, however, was Amami.
Yeah.
And it lies just to the northeast of Okinawa.
Yes, yeah. And the southern part below Japan. Yeah, I already gave you this. And as I said, one of the great things we get a chance to do is recognize our veterans. And in the Hall of Flags, we have plaques that recognize the service of our veterans. World War II, it's a plaque that's 34 inches wide, 54 inches tall, and weighs 285 pounds. I know because I had it in the back of my van when I delivered it to the museum to be placed on the wall there. It recognizes the service, and it's actually the biggest plaque because we always said World War II was the biggest thing. World War I, we're beginning to start the 100th anniversary of World War I, and that was the war to end all wars. That war was only fought in Europe. World War II was fought around the world. We had men from Maine in China, Burma, we had them in the Pacific, we had them around the American campaign, we had them in Europe, we had them fighting in Africa. So we really fought around the globe in that one, in that service. So here's a specific appreciation for Lieutenant J.G. Lester E. Slate, recognizing his service for World War II. This is a picture of the plaque that hangs in the Hall of Flags. Also, here's a certificate that matches the plaque for the Korean War veterans. And the plaque, significant about the Korean War veterans plaque, on the top part it has one more hill. And if you remember, people served during Korea, you'd remember we took a lot of turf from Korea. We swapped hills every day. One of our most famous Medal of Honor recipients, Colonel Lou Millett, was actually attacking a hill 180 in Korea when he earned the Medal of Honor during the Korean War, was to take a hill back that we lost previously and the enemy had. And also, too, since he's a long-serving guy, we have a certificate of appreciation for his service during the Vietnam War, and actually the Vietnam plaque. Significant to the Vietnam plaque is 343 stars around the outside perimeter of the plaque. 1 star for each Mainer we lost during the Vietnam War. And then we have, since you were around, like I said, I could call you a lifer, like people used to call me a lifer. As a career soldier, a career military person, we have a certificate of appreciation for the Cold War. This is a little more colorful. Because we didn't have a plaque that matched the Cold War. We soon will eventually have a plaque that matches the Cold War. But this is really, when you think about the Cold Wars, 1947 to 1990, we had operations around the globe 24/7. SAC was flying all the time. The Navy had submarines going on patrols under the ice in those days. I think Senator just came back from an ice trip. Submariner over there. You know, and the other part, so we have the Navy and we have the Air Force on here. And what I like about this, in the middle of this, is a little guy standing there with a pair of binoculars. For us Army guys that ever went to Germany, we always went to Checkpoint Charlie, fold a gap. And we could stand there and watch the Russians look at us. We had binoculars. We could see their eyeballs. They could see our eyeballs. And we watched each other all day long. And we did with binoculars, just look at each other. And the other part here is a little CD, civil defense thing on this thing. When I came back from Vietnam in 1975, in my last tour in Vietnam, I got commissioned and I became a company commander in the Maine Army National Guard. The first thing I had to do was sign for 150,000 blankets and CD equipment and all that, cots and all those things we had in the armories, because all the armories were civil defense places. And actually at the end of the war, 1990, when we stood down, we turned all those cots in, we turned all those blankets in, and got rid of all those old CD things.
So we had the ice storm and we needed
we needed all this. I think you can remember that. And the other part about this really significant, this is a scroll that came from one of our old certificates from the Civil War. And it's a little more colorful than that process, but really we're bringing back history, and all of our certificates have some history of Maine on them. We want to make that personal to all of our Mainers. So in here are all these 4 certificates, and I'll do this. And the General has a special little gift for you. It is I call it a piece of the rock. We have a commemorative coin that matches a plaque for World War II veterans. And on the front of the plaque, it shows a replica of the front of the plaque, and on the back it says, "Honoring a veteran from a grateful state."
Thank you.
And while you can't spend it anywhere, we think it's pretty valuable, but that's your piece of the rock.
I say it is.
And I want to thank you for your service. Thank you as a member of the greatest generation. Thank you for what you did for us. Thank you. If you'd like to say something.
He's done a pretty good job explaining everything. I don't know that I can add much, but I'm awful pleased that all you folks are here to see me today. And I've been on cloud 9 here ever since February, since I got the first word about this. Now I can come down. I can't think of anything else, but I want to thank everybody involved.
Well, we're here to thank you for what you did for us, because as I tell a lot of my World War II veterans when I get the opportunity, if it wasn't for them standing up and doing what they did, if I was doing this and we didn't have fought like World War II, I may be doing this in German or Japanese. If we did anything at all, we very well could have had a whole different process if all those Mainers and all those other people during World War II didn't stand up and defend us during that thing. And that's why you're called the greatest generation. We appreciate that.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hip, hip.